Really quickly, if you just here for the loadouts, make sure you use the timestamps down below so that way you can skip to whichever weapon build that you want to look for. Now that they're gone, today's video is about my top 10 favorite loadouts to use in Black Ops 6 Zombies. These builds are not built for like max DPS. It's just mostly like how I enjoy playing with these weapons and these builds. A few of the weapons you guys have specifically asked for, built for, so I'm bringing those as well. And in today's video, I'm going to have the builds, but I'm also going to talk a little bit about like maybe DPS, how different attachments work with it, different augment synergies with those weapons, so that way you guys can kind of understand the play styles as well for those. So hopefully you guys get a lot of value out of this. If you did get a lot of value out of it, let me know in the comment section down below. And also give it a like, but I'd love to hear some of your guys' favorite builds down in the comment section as well. Thank you guys for all the love and supporting all the videos recently, but with that, let's get right into the video. So in no particular order, let's start with the LW3 Alpha 1 Frostline Sniper Rifle. So if you're using my build, this is going to allow you to have over 82,600 damage per second, which at max health, that's about 1.5 zombies at max health round per second with this sniper rifle. Through using my build, if you use the FMJ rounds, it will significantly increase the penetration damage that your sniper does, meaning that you can shoot more zombies with just one bullet. And then also adding on the gain twist barrel, which adds more bullet velocity. Bullet velocity is just how quickly the bullet travels. If that bullet is traveling faster and you have that FMJ round on, you can kill a horde much faster with those two attachments added on. Plus, I also add the muzzle brake as well, because it's going to give every shot in this bolt action sniper rifle great recoil control, as well as the speed or the timing between that reset from the kick is going to be significantly reduced with this. Now, some of the augments that you want to use is going to be the dead first in order to get the double critical damage if an enemy's at full health. That's going to allow you to do much more damage, as well as also using dead set to reduce that gun movement while doing some of that advanced movement. If you guys have not seen my deep dive into Deadshot, make sure that you check out the video right here at the top of the screen. Up next is going to be Speed Cola as well. And you want to make sure you have that reload speed is even faster, classic formula augment, and also deploy equipment faster, just because you're going to get a lot of really good movement from deploy equipment faster to be able to shoot much quicker as well after you throw something. Especially with this big sniper rifle, you do want to return to accuracy so that way you can be able to shoot quicker. Then you want to be sure for melee macchiato to use triple shot and hidden impact. Using this strategy is going to allow you to make sure that if you were to get low on ammo, you can punch the zombies at any point in time with this sniper and get up to 30% of the ammo back. And lastly, you want to be sure to have Stalker on for stamina to make sure that while you're using this big sniper rifle, you can move a little bit faster while you're aiming down sticks. So up next is going to be my favorite weapon in the game, and that's the SVD. So I use SVD kind of like a really fun hip-fire shotgun with max fire accuracy. I also use my infinite ammo loadout that I made a video on prior. So if you want to look for that video, you can also find that in the description below. But I use it for that just to have a lot of really good fun with this weapon. Now, if you're using my build, this is going to amass you about 53,300 damage per second. And there definitely are higher DPS builds. When it comes to the long versus the CHF barrel can give you much more damage, and you guys can for sure use that. But I like to have a better damage range, especially once I pack a punch. I can be able to shoot zombies from much further and still have that damage really not fall off. Now, if you wanted to go kind of with the best DPS build for this SVD, it does work really well. If you add on that rapid fire barrel with the CHF barrel using dead first for dead shot, you can get over 112,000 damage per second. Now, if you're kind of wanting to go medium of the road, kind of use range and then also dead first as well, you can get potentially 97,000 damage per second if you're instead using the long range barrel. Next is the Marine SP, and I really use the Marine SP very similar to how I use the SVD as well. So once again, it's very much the same. This is just a fun hipfire ADS pump shotgun that I like to use. Once again, I use my infinite ammo build with this as well. It doesn't give you the most DPS, right? For this build, you're gonna have over 21,000 DPS with this build if you're using it. Now, I do want to talk about this one because the reinforced barrel is what I use in order to be able to increase my damage range and also be able to have much better accuracy and a pretty decent mag size. I also used the modified choke to be able to tighten up my ADS pellet spread for whenever I am ADSing. There are going to be a lot of times where I ADS instead of hip firing with this because I just want to get a little bit more accuracy, and the accuracy isn't as tight and as good as it is with, let's say, the SVD. So if you're wanting to go a great max DPS build, you're going to want to use the dead first with dead shot as well as rapid fire, which is going to get you up to about 36,499 damage per second. Up next is the Goblin Mark II. So I actually use this like a max damage marksman rifle, and I also have an underbarrel launcher on it for in case you get into tight spaces. Because I use this as the marksman rifle, you can shoot really quickly, which I do love. Because you can shoot really quickly and have a really great rounds per minute, you can get up to 110,000 max DPS with this weapon if you're using dead first with dead shot, and then also if you're using the CHF barrel. So when it comes to the attachments, you can for sure substitute the launcher that I have on here for the extended mag 1. I wouldn't go much more than that because the amount of rounds that you're going to have per magazine is still going to be really great. And then also it's just going to slow down your weapon and your movement. Lastly, for this, you're going to want to use deal double damage that dead first augment as I was talking about before. But I also use dead break for this because as I get into those higher rounds, what really slows down this weapon is all of those armored zombies, as armored zombies slows down every weapon. But it really slows this one down because it doesn't do as much armor damage. So make sure to have dead break on for this to help you out with this loadout. Next, we've got our actual marksman rifle, which is the SWAT 5.56. I love using the SWAT 5.56 as a good, accurate burst fire marksman rifle. It's just really balanced all the way around. There's really not much to it. It can give you about 42,000 damage per second if you're using dead head with dead shot and the CHF barrel. The biggest thing about this is that I use the Strelok laser because it'll give you really great hipfire to ADS accuracy. Now, why do I care about the hipfire to ADS accuracy here in zombies? Is because you got the dead shot spam where as you spam, you un-ADS and ADS over and over in order to continue to hit that head over and over consistently of different zombies. But when you pack-a-punch this weapon, those 3-round bursts actually become fully automatic 3-round bursts where you don't have to continue to press down the trigger. And so instead, if you have the Strelok laser on, as long as you continue to ADS and under-ADS at the start of each of those bursts, then you will still have really great accuracy because it tightens up that spread whenever you do come to ADS. That is going to be key with having this build. So make sure you have that on. I would also recommend having on dead break for this, as well as dead head is going to be what I use mostly in those higher rounds if you want to use that. So up next is our very first DLC weapon, and this is the Krig-C. So I actually use this as a perfectly balanced assault rifle. This actually has the second highest damage per shot for any AR other than the Goblin Mark II. Now, because the Goblin Mark II is treated as a marksman rifle in my eyes, this is the best assault rifle that we actually have. And so using this build can get you over 60,000, almost 61,000 damage per second if you use the dead head augment with dead shot and the CHF barrel. With using this, it's just basically general overall. There's really no specific explanations for everything. Everything really just makes sense to make this a really good, well-rounded weapon. Now, up next is the GPMG7 LMG. I really use this for highest movement speed for an LMG. Now, even though it is built for movement and speed, it still does have amazing DPS, coming in at over 64,000 damage per second. If you're using dead head, this is going to be great for that. I also like to use dead draw in order to reduce the hipfire spread, because if you add on the crossbar with this weapon, it's going to give you a side mounted foregrip that you cannot fully ADS. However, it does give you great hipfire spread and accuracy with also high aiming move speed. So this is a great LMG and a great attachment to be able to add to this. Only other thing that I would do is just make sure that you have on classic formula for speed cola to make sure that you actually reduce that reload time dramatically. In addition, if you are using another weapon, which I would definitely highly suggest you use another weapon, in case you do run out of ammo, I would definitely have quick swap on so that way you can swap to another weapon and swap to your melee weapon. Now, here is our very first Akimbo SMGs, the Saug. I actually use this kind of as a semi-burst fire Akimbo SMG. What I mean by that is The purpose of this is to continue having great accuracy, because as you're shooting those SMGs, since the RPM is so high, a lot of times that vertical recoil is insane. So I consistently kind of stop shooting and start shooting over and over. So I kind of use this as like a burst fire Akimbo SMG. Now, using this build can get you at over 59,000 damage per weapon per SMG if you're using the dead head augment with dead shot. So you can really get almost 120,000 DPS for the Akimbo weapons here. Now, in order to make this weapon, you want to have the ported compensator, which is going to make the first shot recoil control much better. Now, this typically doesn't work for most SMGs, but because I'm using this as that kind of semi-burst fire, I have a lot more first shots with both of these weapons to kind of bring down that recoil control a lot more. And then you want to for sure have on dead draw to reduce the aimfire spread, as well as that dead head as we talked about. Up next, we've got our Mustang and Sally. And to be honest with you, the purpose of this loadout is just to be the Mustang and Sally. There's nothing really crazy about this. Here's my build if you guys want to see. I added on rapid fire so that way I can be able to shoot a little bit more, but you don't need to add a magazine on. Adding on the extended mags don't do anything once it's Pack-a-Punch, because the most amount of rounds that you can have once Pack-a-Punch is 6 per weapon. Now, doing this will get you at over 22,000 damage per weapon per second if you're using dead head, the CHF barrel, and rapid fire. Now, you can use that first as well, but the likelihood that you're also going to be shooting much headshots consistently is going to be really low. So I like to just use dead head for this. And lastly, coming in at my top 3 favorite weapons in the game is a PP919. I think people call it all different types of names, like the PP Bison or PPH, SH, I think some people even call it. But I love using this weapon because I use it kind of like a Tac-Stance LMG, SMG build with improved bullet velocity and range. If you use my build, you can get about 39,000 damage per second with this if you're using the dead head augment for dead shot. However, the one thing I want to say is I used a reinforced barrel instead, because this is what's going to give me a better damage range, because a lot of times our bullets and our SMG don't have such great damage range. And also it increases your bullet velocity, which, as I said earlier, allows your bullets to travel much quicker through the sky. And I also have the tac laser, which gives me the ability to be able to have it Tac-Stance. So with that, guys, those are my top 10 favorite weapons to use. I hope that helps you guys out. I know a lot of you guys have been asking in comments over here on YouTube and also on Reddit about some of my favorite weapon loadouts to be able to have. And so I hope that helps you guys out massively. But with that, guys, you guys have a beautiful goddamn day. And make sure that you check out my most recent 200-hour review that I posted about Black Ops 6 Zombies. It has a ton of opinions and thoughts in it from what Treyarch's done to fix up zombies in this mode. Have a beautiful goddamn day. I'll see you guys in that video.